Another Fox News alert minutes away now. We'll get a Senate hearing on terrorism and social media in the wake of what happened in Texas. This is ISIS claims more than 71 fighters stationed here in 15 different U.S. states ready to launch an attack. But as the militants use social media to spread its hatred, our next guest is looking to fight back on that in the recruitment. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, chairman of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee. And, sir, good morning to you.
Morning, Bill.
This is not easy stuff. You know, I mean, the cell phones were one thing a couple years ago, and now you have the possibility that someone from overseas or anywhere in the world can send out a mere tweet and inspire and encourage those to carry out an attack. What are you going to do today?
Well, one of our witnesses is going to hopefully testify what he's published, that he estimates, probably best guessed, about 46,000, possibly as high as 90,000, what he calls overt ISIS supporter accounts on Twitter. I mean, think of that, Bill. 46 to 90,000 people inspired by this barbarity and this brutality. And, of course, what ISIS is doing right now in the follow-up of this Texas terrorist attack, they're claiming credit for it, and now they're claiming to have 71 trained fighters, 23 that have apparently accepted missions like the mission in Texas, and basically claiming that they fully knew that Texas was well guarded, and they were happy to martyr themselves, those two terrorists that were happy to martyr themselves. So they're trying to use social media, they're trying to claim this kind of responsibility to show that they're winning, and the only way that we can curb that type of inspiration is we've got to demonstrate to the world and to their supporters that ISIS is actually losing. Because as long as they're perceived as winning, they're going to continue to inspire that kind of activity.
So that's interesting. I mean, you know the threat, and it's obvious. How do you show that ISIS is not gaining, that they're actually losing?
Well, the first thing is defeat them. Defeat them in Iraq, defeat them in Syria, defeat them around the world. You know, show the kind of strength and resolve so that people around the world are not drawn to an organization that right now is using social media and claiming great victories. You know, every one of these terrorist attacks is a victory. And again, think of the 46 to 90,000 people that are inspired by those acts of barbarity. So we need to counter that with actual defeats.
But Senator,
barbarians.
That does not appear to be the case in Iraq and Syria, does it? And you look at what's happening throughout the Middle East and into Africa. It's spreading.
It is spreading, which is why I continue to call on this administration to show far greater strength and resolve. You know, Bill, there have been some setbacks. They lost from Kobani. They've given up to Crit. But we are a long way from actually defeating them, at least my definition of defeat, which is like wipe these people off the face of the earth. And, you know, we can also do far better job on social media ourselves to point out the truth and show, you know, really, you know, what it does look like when ISIS is defeated in certain areas.
Yeah,
so there are ways to combat this, but we have a problem.
I don't know if you're going to be able to convince this administration to take a different stance overseas. But the bigger issue happens when they come here, as we saw in Garland, Texas on Sunday. Now, today, will you address that today, and if so, how?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, I'm going to start reading the posting by ISIS claiming to have these 71 trained fighters, 23 accepting these missions. You know, we need to show the American people what they are claiming, what the potential threat is. You know, I think one of the final sentences there is the next 6 months should be interesting. I mean, let's hope not. So we just need to highlight the real problem. And Bill, another important point to make is, you know, because of the revelations of Edward Snowden, people in America seem to think that the federal government has perfect information of who's being radicalized. You know, we don't. People go into those communities and they're shocked. They're surprised that we don't know who their young people are that might be radicalized are. We don't. So it's extremely important that the communities police themselves, that if they see something, they have to say something, they have to alert authorities, because we do not have perfect information. As a matter of fact, our ability to gather intelligence with these encrypted email accounts is actually degrading over time. Technology is surpassing our ability to follow them.
It's a moving target. You're right, Senator. It's an excellent point to end on. Thank you for your time, and that hearing begins in about 9 minutes. Good luck, Senator. It's a big job. Ron Johnson, thank you, the Republican from Wisconsin.